we had a reel or a short that went kind of viral. It's Head from Korn showing how Mr. Bungle kind of influenced the chords at the beginning of Blind.
Yeah.
So it got like it's already got like 1.5 million views or something.
Yeah, Instagram it's got like 300K, 200K,
Yeah.
something like that.
And so a lot of people jumped in the comments and we're talking. This one guy. Well, let's start with this guy. What's this guy's name? Michael Shin, right?
I think so. And let me read this comment first too, so people can kind of understand like where this is coming from. So he had a lot to say in the comment. I mean, I guess rightfully so. I'm not sure, but he's like replying to everybody. Anyway, he says, except that he didn't write Blind, not one bit, in response to Head talking about how he came up with the riffs for Blind. I wrote the first riff in 1990, then completed the song in late 1992 while in a band, Sex Art. Korn never played my song until 1993 when my singer joined that band and presented the song as if it was his own. So Brian is straight up lying about it. And what he's talking about is called the diminished chords that we all used in songs way before Korn ever became a band with JD. Maybe it's meth, but his memory isn't fully intact on these tiny but important details.
So he's like fully attacking him over it.
Yeah, and then after that he goes, as for Mr. Bungle, yes, that part of his experience is probably true.
So, okay, first off, we got a lot of this in those comments about diminished chords. People like, oh, Korn didn't. No one said Korn invented diminished chords anywhere in that video. Brian is just showing you that they were into Mr. Bungle, and that's where the inspiration for the riff came from.
Yeah, and so Mr. Bungle, I'm sure Trey and Billy and all those guys are heavily jazz and like, you know, classical music influence. So that's I'm sure where they get their diminished chord, you know, style from, not fucking like Voivod. Or maybe I'm wrong, but you know.
Well, so at first I thought the guy was completely full of garbage.
Yeah.
But there is actually some truth, as we're going to find out here. So this is where it all started. The groundwork had already been laid with the musical cross-pollination of Faith No More, the rap rock polemic of Rage Against the Machine, and the concrete heavy grooves of Helmet and Prong, among others. For good or for ill, though, the movement that would become to known as nu metal was birthed with the release of Korn's monstrous first single and debut album opener, Blind. The sinister skittering cymbals, that jagged repeated slash of guitar, and its counterpoint riff, frontman Jonathan Davis growling, "Are you ready?" like an invitation to riot, which in a way it was. The song launched Korn and 1,000 of the follow the leader wannabes into the musical mainstream, but its genesis goes back a little further. A version of Blind had been written and played live in the clubs in the early 90s by Davis's pre-Korn outfit Sex Art. The band also featured guitarist Ryan Shuck, who would go on to co-found Orgy and play with Julian Kay, which was his other band, and Dead by Sunrise with Chester Bennington. So when my band first broke up, I asked my friend Ryan, who went on to join Orgy, if I could keep the song. The way we did it was completely different to the original version anyway, Davis added. What was I going for lyrically? I have no fucking idea, brother. This was just stream of consciousness thing. It was all over the place. I think it's about being blind to your reality, blocking the shit out that you don't want to see or hear. The riff came from Jonathan's old band Sex Art, guitarist Monkey told Metal Hammer in 2020. Head and I saw them play at some little club, and I remember thinking the riff was pretty cool. It was in a different key, but still really heavy. It felt like new territory, like something I'd never heard before. How much of the song is actually rewritten and how freely it was given to Korn remains a matter of debate. The main songwriter in Sex Art was drummer Dennis Shin, and neither he nor Shuck were originally credited for Blind or Daddy, which also originated in Sex Art, when it appeared as the opening track on Korn's self-titled debut album released in October 1994. In interviews with God Is in the TV under his pseudonym Menace, Shin alleged that Davis had actually stolen the songs I had written in Sex Art. It was only after the pair took legal action that they were credited on Korn's Greatest Hits Volume 1 a decade later, as well as all subsequent releases featuring the songs. Despite the old drama egomaniacs and their politics brought forth, I am always very proud of what I wrote and thankful for Korn doing such a great job representing the music for all these years, wrote Shin on Instagram. So originally he didn't seem to have much of a problem with it. For his part, guitarist Head claims the song had many writers, while acknowledging that Shin and Shuck wrote the original before Korn changed it up. We came in with the cymbal part. Monkey came up with the da na 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 na, and then we decided after it kicked in, we were going to bring it all right down. That was all Korn rewriting it. He told Metal Hammer. That's a typo, obviously.
Well, that's I just want to butt in for a second. That's kind of what I'm kind of understanding, because if they played it in their old band in clubs and it seems like it didn't really work or it didn't catch on, and then Korn kind of revamped it and redid their version of it, and it seems like it worked, you know? So, well, and if Jonathan Davis was in the band, I mean,
yeah, you know, well, I mean, I would have to hear the original demo versus the version that Korn's doing to like really make a judgment. But yeah, also like there's video of Maynard from Tool playing the song Sober with his band before Tool. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have seen
and it's clearly like the vocals are similar because he's doing like the same kind of vocal cadence that he does in the Tool version, but it's a totally different song, you know? So it's like if Jonathan Davis left that band and took his lyrics and melodies to another band, and then the other band kind of built a new song around it, I mean, you know, I'm not arguing that the guy doesn't deserve credit, but it's also
it just seems like very, I don't know how to explain it, like just kind of asshole-ish, like just chill out, dude.
It seems like a hanger-on type behavior where it's like dude,
Dave Mustaine vibes. Like,
right,
we get it. You wrote Metallica.
Move on. It's time to move on,
or whatever. It's like Korn has released so much other music after that.
Since that has been successful. Arguably more successful than Blind.
Yeah. Or did he write Follow the Leader? Did he write that?
Yeah.
That album?
Issues. Any of that stuff. Fucking Life is Peachy.
Because it kind of bothers me that he's like digging that head in a lot of his comments and shit.
Yeah,
like calling them meth heads and all this stuff. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair too, like I watched an interview with Head where he was talking about sneaking meth in deodorant. He would like hide it in deodorant when they went on tour and stuff. So the dogs couldn't smell.
I mean, he totally was, but
yeah, it's kind of a low blow.
Kind of like, all right, dude.
So, on that note, this is what the article says next. And whatever the exactitudes of the original composition of the song, there's no doubting that it was Korn's delivery, along with eerie to hulking sonics captured by producer Ross Robinson, that made Blind such a visceral gut punch of a song. Also, the rest of the band. I mean, there's a new drummer in the mix.
And
there's
Fieldy's bass on there.
The version of Blind that made the album, ushering in one of the most impactful debuts in metal history, as well as serving as the lead single, was reworked once more from the cut on Niedermeyer's Mind demo. It was also a slow burner. So the Niedermeyer's Mind demo was in this article, and I listened to it, and it's pretty much the same song, other than like the part where it breaks into the verse where it's like this place inside. They don't have those like kind of airy like open guitars. It's more like a kind of a standard like cha-cha like type riff. It was also a slow burner. Initially released as a promo single, it never bothered the charts, and the album never rose above number 72 on the US Billboard 200 chart. It made a big noise in the underground, however, and served as an introduction to Korn and their new breed of metal. I guess the guy did have a part in writing it. You know, he definitely he had a part in it. But also another thing that people kept saying is that Blind was a ripoff of Too Many Puppies. He's like, Korn was totally influenced by Primus. Primus is the like responsible for the birth of all new metal type thing, is what people were kind of saying.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, fuck you. No, they're not. Faith No More, you know, Faith No More, Mr. Bungle. And then I started thinking about it, and I realized what's going on. I think more in terms of guitar and vocals, but Primus was definitely a massive influence on Korn, especially the drums and the bass. The bass, not even so much, I don't think. I think hip hop and like, you know, kind of funk bands like Faith No More were more of an influence on Korn's bass than Primus was.
Well, and I think people get kind of caught up in this weird thing where it's like, if one instrument is playing something that kind of sounds like another song, then they copied that song. And it's like, no, these two songs are completely different songs. They have completely different changes and parts and intros and like
melodies.
like they're wildly different. I'm sure they were inspired or they took some inspiration, but like if you ask Les Claypool, he would be like, "What the fuck?" Like, no.
Yeah. So someone did also, like, I like to go by evidence. So here's the other thing. There is, if you Google Primus influenced Korn, there's a blog or something that says Jonathan Davis says that the song was influenced by Too Many Puppies, but there's no video of him saying that, and there's no reference to an interview where he said it. So I have to believe it's someone just made it up, because I've never seen him say that anywhere out of his mouth. It's just like, this guy's
and I'm sure they would, like that video of Head, they would probably be open about it if it was, for sure.
So some guy thought he was a genius, like, oh, someone had to do this. Someone had to show how Korn copied Too Many Puppies. So listen to this. This is hilarious.
Inside my mind, a place I like to hide. You don't know the chance. What if I should die?
Head's retarded is what I'm gathering.
That is a person who does not know music, basically.
Yeah, because
like,
ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
that's not even the right part of the song. Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocals are like, if you're gonna do a mashup like that too, at least match it up on beat. Like, even if he had matched it up on beat, it wouldn't have, it doesn't sound like that. So to concede, though, David Silveria of Korn was absolutely influenced by Herb from Primus, and I have evidence for you right here.
Yeah.
This is great.
Silveria from Core 10, previously Korn. On our very first European trip with Korn, the band Primus took us on the tour. Can you imagine that? Our first trip to Europe, we go with Primus. And one of my biggest drum influences has always been Tim Alexander. So for Tim, these songs are for you. Thanks.
So there's a whole video of him playing Jerry Was a Race Car Driver by Primus.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to play that clip because there's the evidence right there. He said it out of his own mouth. One of my biggest influences is Herb from Primus. And if you listen to their drumming side by side, David even uses the same snare drum.
I was going to say it's a
piccolo snare.
High piccolo snare. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thinner snare.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's a thin snare. Yeah. Where like a rock snare is usually a deeper, it's like a thicker. Yeah. And so anyway, that guy was right. Once I thought about it, I was like, oh, actually, yeah. And that's the similarity to Too Many Puppies with Blind, is that ride riff at the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's play this one more time.
That's kind of my thing, is it's like, okay, well, the song as a whole is not
nothing alike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the ride intro.
A place I like to hide. You don't know the chance.
Fucking
that is
delete
terrible.
This video.
That is please take that down. That's terrible.